I'm going to show you the basics of what you need to know to process audio for your videos, and we're starting right now. I'm Nick. This is video number 7 in the series on how to make videos for YouTube. If you have not watched the other videos yet, there will be a playlist link down in the description below to get you started. We're going to be in front of the computer for this one, but before we head over there, I want to mention that audio is extremely important, and you should take the audio in your videos extremely serious because it's half of the video experience. There's a video in this series about how to record your video. If you haven't watched that yet, I recommend that you do, because what I'm talking about in this video will make a little bit more sense if you've already watch that video. Also, let me know in the comments if you currently process your audio or if you just use it directly out of the camera. I would love to know what you guys are doing. Let's head over to the computer. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using Adobe Audition because that's what I use for my videos, but the same concepts apply to the free audio editor called Audacity. I'll put a link to that down in the description below this video. It's also in the ebook if you have downloaded that. If you have not downloaded that yet, there will be a link to that down in the description as well. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to remove noise from a file. Now I'm going to import the audio from my What Happens When We Don't Sleep video. And if you remember in the video on recording your video, I mentioned that at the beginning of every video, I leave an area of silence while I'm holding my gray card. Now, the reason that I do that, the silence, is for this right here. As long as I have an area of silence where nothing is happening except for the white noise that comes from the microphone, then all I do is I select that area and I capture the noise print from it, right? And then I can apply this to the whole track when I go in and I do my noise reduction process. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear this or not, but as it plays, I'm going to turn on and off the effect so that you can see the difference, but I'm not 100% sure once the audio is processed for this particular video, if you're going to be able to tell. I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Are you getting enough sleep? Well, you better be, or you might be in for it. I'm Nick. Welcome to All Our Questions, where I search the internet for questions that we all want answers to, and I answer them. Okay, so that's the difference. And I'm not sure if you were able to hear that or not with the recording, but if you experiment with this in your software, then you will definitely be able to see the difference. And I recommend doing this with headphones on because you can really tune into how things sound if you are listening through headphones. So once we have this all together, then I just hit apply, and that applies it to my track. Now, there are other things that you can do for the compression. A lot of people normalize their audio and things like that. I like mine to sound as natural as humanly possible. So what I do once I remove the noise, because I usually bring in a pretty clean signal, a pretty clean sound file from my microphone. So once I remove the noise, I will add an EQ. In here, I saved a preset for video voice. And basically this just boosts the highs just a tad, and it boosts the low end, the bass in my voice, just a tad. By doing that, it gives my voice more presence. Now I'm going to play this again, and I'm not 100% sure if you'll be able to tell the difference, but when you do it in your software, especially with headphones, you will definitely be able to hear the difference. So let's see the difference here. Well, you better be, or you might be in for it. I'm Nick. Welcome to All Our Questions, where I search the internet for questions that we all want answers to, and I answer them. Today's question is, what happens if we don't sleep? Well, we're going to find out, and we're starting right now. So that's the difference. It brings more presence to the voice. If I don't use this, then my voice is just a tad bit higher pitched, and it has kind of a canny sound to it, just a little bit. So just a little bit of tweak gives my voice more warmth and more presence in the video. Another thing that I would do if I was using this track instead of just for a tutorial, if I was actually putting it together, is I would take my output signal and I would boost that a tad. I'm Nick. Welcome to All Our Questions, where I search the internet for questions that we all want answers to, and I answer them. I put it up just a tad, and then I would apply across the whole track. Okay, now you can see here all of the spikes that happened, right? Now, options that you can do, of course, to pull those down, if you wanted to, is you could add a limiter to it or something to bring those spikes down. All I would do in this situation, because it's all just a little bit too high, is I would actually undo that boost, and I would take it back down to 0. And then I would just apply it again. Still pretty high, but I'll just dump it down just a notch in my video editor, and that should take care of it. Again, there are a lot of other things that you can do to your voice. Obviously, you know, all of this audio processing software has a ton of different options. You know, of course, you can use the dynamics processing. You can use the hard limiter. Of course, you can normalize it. That's actually something that a lot of people suggest you do. So I recommend, I personally don't use it, but I recommend that you experiment with these options to see what sounds the best with your voice and how you want your videos to sound. So once I have my audio processed, I will just go to File, Export, and I will export it as a WAV file. So then I can import it back into my video software. So now let's go over to the video software, and I will show you how I balance all of the sounds out within the video software. Okay, so here we are back in Sony Vegas, and just in case you did not or cannot or just flat out refuse to watch the video on recording a video, this right here is what I was talking about. Basically, at the beginning of every video, I record my gray card and I record some silence so that I can sample it, as I discussed just a few minutes ago inside of Audacity. I can sample that silence out. So what I did with this is I kind of grouped all of my audio tracks together so that I could show you how I blend all of my sounds. And really, most of this is up to the headphones that you're using, and it's up to your personal tastes. But there's some general rules that I always like to follow. For example, I want my music track to be considerably lower than my voice. I want my whooshes and my sound effects to come in and be a complement to the video instead of being something that overpowers the video. So once we bring the audio track in, I basically just mute the previous audio track. And because I exported it as the full file, then I can just drop it in and I don't have to worry about any sync issues or anything like that. One thing that I want to mention to you is when I am balancing out my audio in my videos, I put my volume at 75%. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm recording this tutorial and I want you to be able to hear everything, but I put my volume at 75% because I want to know what it's going to sound like generally. And then once I get all my adjustments together, then I'll test it at full volume to make sure that, you know, if somebody does listen to it at full volume, it still sounds decent and it doesn't blow their eardrums out. But in a nutshell, what I do is I go through, and again, this is going to be on personal preference, and it's going to be on the audio device that you are listening to it on. All of these sounds are going to come through different. Your voice is going to sound different. Your audio is going to sound different, or your music track is going to sound different. Your sound effects are going to sound different. Because of that, I recommend that you test your audio in a few different kinds of headphones. I recommend that you test your audio on a set of home speakers, a set of computer speakers, and really just a nice handful, a nice range of different types of speakers so you can get an idea of how your audio sounds across a handful of different devices. One thing that I want to point out here, as you'll see, is if you look at the volume, right? This right here is just a tad under, because like I mentioned before, I pulled it back just a tad to, it's just a tad under 0. And I did that just because, as I mentioned when I was exporting out of Audacity, you know, it was peaking out just a little bit too much for me. So I backed it off just a tad to make sure that everything worked out good for me there. And my music here in the background is considerably lower. And the reason for that is because I want people to be able to hear my information and hear my voice without having to compete with the audio that's playing in the background. For it. I'm Nick. Welcome to All Our Questions, where I search the internet for questions that we all want answers to, and I answer them. Today's question is, what happens if we don't sleep? Well, we're going to find out, and we're starting right now. It's generally accepted that humans should get... Okay, so especially if you're listening with headphones right now, you'll hear that the audio or the music is loud enough that it doesn't overpower the video, and it's kind of balanced with my voice. So basically, I just tweak these based on the headphones that I'm using, you know, because I've used these since I've made my first YouTube video, so I know what everything sounds like. So I basically tweak my audio volumes for my music and my sound effects and my voice based on what I'm used to in my headphones. And you'll learn that pretty fast also if you are editing videos on a regular basis, but always edit your audio with a set of headphones on. You also want to make sure as you are running your music in the background, you know, because sometimes maybe you'll be saying something softer, or sometimes you'll pick an audio track or a music track that, as you can see in the waveforms on this music file, sometimes the music is a lot louder than other times. So in order to compensate for what it is that I'm saying in my video and to compensate for the difference in volume here, I will basically just adjust the volume throughout the track to give it the feel and effect that I'm going for. If you want to have some fun with your audio, one thing that I do in a lot of my videos, not all of my videos, but a lot of my videos for my All Our Questions channel, is I'll put in little sweeteners. So let's say, for example, in this particular video, you can see here in the pre-processed audio that I have it panning. This red area right here is, actually here, I'll turn that on so you can see. This red area here basically is left and right. So going right down the middle, then it's coming out as a stereo signal. But if I move it over here, it's going over to the left. If I move it down here, it's going over to the right. Now, the reason that I do this is because, you know, I just want to do something special for people that listen to my videos with headphones on. It's something that I haven't said in any of my All Our Questions videos, but, you know, it's a little treat for those people that do listen to the videos with headphones on because they get to hear all of the details. But I'm going to play this for you here right now so that you can see what I mean. My face is melting. People who are highly sleep deprived will also... So, you know, I just do little things like that, and I do it throughout the video, or especially if I do a little cut in like that. Just something that I personally enjoy doing. Another tip that I want to give you about your audio with your videos is it's helpful if, you know, depending on the kinds of videos that you're making, it's helpful if you can work the music out to blend with your video. What I mean by that is if you can cut a clip to music, or, you know, to where, you know, right when a snare hits or right when a bass sound starts, if you can cut a clip to that, or make your segments transition through your music, it can really have a cool effect on the experience for the person that's watching your video. As an example, I'll take you right here to the beginning of this video, and you can see I did that with my title. And I try to do that at the beginning of my videos as much as possible because, in my opinion, it adds a professional touch to what's going on. It kind of leads into my title, and it gives my title more impact when I come in. And, you know, as you know, if you're making YouTube videos, this first part of the video is extremely important. So, you know, I try to make it as impressive as I can for the people that are watching my videos. One answers to, and I answer them. Today's question is, what happens if we don't sleep? We're going to find out, and we're starting right now. It's generally accepted. Okay, so you can see as the title comes in, that the track builds up to it and then drops out right when the title comes in. What happens if we don't sleep? Today's question is, what happens if we don't sleep? We're going to find out, and we're starting right now. It's generally... And you can do that in a ton of different ways, but, you know, that's just something that I recommend that you do. You know, you lead up to different segments, or you do it for your intros, or, you know, to emphasize different points that you make, or anywhere that you can put in something like that. I highly recommend it. It just makes the whole viewing experience a lot more fun, in my opinion. And I guess not just my opinion. I mean, if you watch TV, you know, they do the same exact stuff on TV. So, you know, it's something that that it's entertaining. It's an entertaining way to do it. So you're making a presentation out of the whole entire thing. You're not missing anything. Your audio is part of the presentation. Your voice is part of the presentation. Your actual video, of course, is part of the presentation. You're making it an experience instead of having separate parts for your video. Another cool thing that you can do with your audio is audio makes a huge difference if you do a cut-in of some kind, where you have something completely different take place just for the sake of breaking up the interest for your viewers and keeping them engaged. Here, I'll show you what I mean by that. Infomercials. That's right. We know you're tired. Now's the time to buy. Now, in the actual video, because my computer's rendering this a little bit slow for the playback, but in the actual video, all more impact. You know, I have the squelches coming in and things like that. So that it comes in, it's just something that breaks everything up. It gives their ears something completely different than everything else that's going on in the video. And of course, visually, it gives them something different as well. And I use this squelch here to lead back into the rest of the video. If you go even longer than 24 hours without, and in this, as I mentioned before with the panning and everything, I do the same exact thing here where I have the panning moving around and I fade it all out into my voice right when I start here. If you go even longer than 24 hours without sleep, so it blends everything together. And I do the same exact thing with the music track here as well, is I have the lower end and then I bring in the actual track right here. So part of the music actually comes in as this whole thing is coming to a close. If you go even longer than 24 hours without... So in a nutshell, that is how I do the audio for my videos. Of course, there are tons of different ways to do pretty much everything that I just talked about, but that's how I do things for mine. So if you like my videos and you like my style of my videos and all of that, then now you know exactly how you can get a similar result. So that is a simple way to edit audio for your videos. And of course, there's additional things you can do. You can add dynamics processing to it and you can normalize your voice and so on. But I wanted to give you the base of what you can do to edit your videos or to edit your audio, and then you can expand on your knowledge from there if that's something that you have interest in. Remember to check out tubertools.com for everything that you need to make your YouTube channel look professional and polished. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe button somewhere on this page so you can get more videos like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.